Thank you. Nancy Ballot.
Good evening. My name is Nancy Ballot. Shelter. Animal control in Stockton, California. I'm a newcomer to Stockton. This is my home since 1971, a city of more than 100,000 at the time, a time when the malls and life downtown was department stores, Cat and Marengo. Was great. Stockton is no longer alive when you walk the streets downtown. The stores have moved out, or Cat and Marengo did go to the mall, and that's because of free parking. Decisions are made, and they have consequences, and unfortunately, downtown suffered from that one. Much of my adult life, I've been involved with cats, working with the feral cats. We were fortunate in this community to have a veterinarian come in and do spay-neuter at a very reasonable cost. And a few years later, we got ACT, which was another volunteer group, low-cost spay-neuter. I could go up on the levee, trap a cat, give a call and say, I've got a cat, can I bring it in? Yes. Now I call, and it's like 4 weeks to 6 weeks before I can get an appointment. It's a real problem. Cats reproduce very quickly. And one of my cat statistics is a female cat at the age of 6 months can go into heat. 2 months later, she produces a litter of 2 to 6 kittens, and they will, by 6 months, go on to be able to reproduce also. You cannot get them in for spay and neuter until they are 3 months old. In the meantime, if you haven't gotten her in, she's having another litter. So the numbers are going up exponentially. We have these help groups, if you can get into them. They are so overloaded at this time. But it's too much. We're a city of 350,000 people. We need to have animal control in there also. And I understand they have increased a few more slots for the spay and neuter. We need a whole huge place. The cats, then the people. My friends are just a few of the people who are out there working on these cats. Neighbors don't like all of the cats in the neighborhood, and terrible things happen to cats. It's not a happy place. So spay and neuter is important. It keeps them quieter. It keeps them from interrupting as much. Your decisions are important. I plead with you. Give animal control more funding. Thank you.
Thank you. Iwa Dozer.
My name is Eva Dozier, and I am here again to address the need of TNR for Stockton. Trap neuter return is the only way to help control overpopulation of feral and stray cats in Stockton. Since last time I was here, Stockton Animal Shelter expanded its services for citizens who trap and bring community cats for procedure to the shelter. Personally, I am very grateful for these attempts, so now we can fix 90 cats per month instead of 40. Thank you. I appreciate it. Still, in this space, not much will change. We need to fix 50 cats a day, and it's doable. I have a proposition, actually few. I will devote my personal time and make phone calls, and I will meet with alumni of Veterinary School of Davis and ask if they are willing to do internship program in our shelter. I will devote my personal time and make phone calls asking if we can have a vet for our shelter, a graduate from Davis Veterinary School who would daily totally commit to TNR. Would the city be interested in providing all what's necessary to hire a vet to work in this program? Would the city provide any incentives for students and alums to do internship? What would that be? If so, I will volunteer and help prepare, advertise TNR program in Stockton. I will organize what needs to be done. I will organize a team of trappers, and we all together will go and make a change. And I will regularly work for TNR program for free. Give me a desk. That's all what I ask. Thank you for taking your time to listen to me, and I hope that together we can do it.
Thank you. Mason Yanowitz.
Hello, Mr. Mayor and Council. I want to start with a congrats to our mayor on the great interview with Lawrence Jones cross country last weekend on Fox. I think this was a good example of when Stocktonians work together, we get the job done. I'm here today to speak about the City of Stockton's Trap, Neuter, and Return, also known as TNR program for feral cats. This is the only humane and effective approach for community cats. This program allows Stockton residents to bring feral cats to animal services on designated days, and the cats will be neutered, ear-clipped, and vaccinated for rabies, then picked up by the resident and released back into the same neighborhood. We are all grateful that the shelter increased the TNR to 3 days this month. But that's not enough to make up for the lack of TNR over the past several years. I'm sure that everyone in this room has noticed an increase of feral cats in their neighborhoods or their friends and family's neighborhoods. I spoke with the head of Stockton Shelter and was told that the lack of resources is the reason for the limited TNR schedule. I'm asking for the opportunity to speak with the animal shelter's management to discuss how we can better serve our community cats. The City of Stockton has a TNR army of volunteers that are willing to trap feral cats, pay the $30 fee per cat, bring the cats to the shelter on the designated days, and then pick up the cats from the shelter and return the cats to the same neighborhood. These volunteers are performing an amazing service. As I said before, a female cat can become pregnant as young as 16 weeks of age, go on to have 2 or 3 litters a year. In 7 years, a single female cat and their kittens can produce 420,000 more cats. And that number is noted on WebMD. Our community feral cats are sweet, loving creatures, and I know this because I personally have adopted 2 feral cats as indoor house pets. Please, Mr. Mayor and Council, our feral cats need your help. Please increase the funding to the Trap, Neuter, and Return program so our community cats can get the help they so desperately need. Thank you.
Thank you. Tam Trung.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. My name is Tam Trung, and I recently moved here about 2 years ago. I guess I never really noticed all of the cats because my last residence was in New York City, so typically you really don't see them running around in Manhattan. The reason I'm here today is because every morning I drive to the studio for a couple classes, and I always see roadkill. They're just everywhere. And it is daily, which is devastating. I have animal control on speed dial because I'm constantly calling them to pick up, and they said that they're only available twice a week. So my first point here is if the city can actually get more staff to pick them up so I don't see guts splattered. And then I see them the next day too because they don't get picked up until I think it's Tuesdays and Thursdays that you guys send somebody. So that is the first point I would like to ask is if you guys can get more staff to pick up roadkill. The second point I have is if you could devote more funds to local cat rescue groups. I'm working right now with Second Chance Kitty as a volunteer, and they really need help, especially the friendly ones that you trap. If we have enough resources, they would be able to kind of, to be foster and be rehome. So, these local rescue groups, they could really use some more money. The third one I have is We are grateful that you guys gave us 3 days this month at the shelter for TNR. So I don't know if that's going to be something you can do regularly moving forward, but we do know this month you gave us 3. I think last month was 2. So that would be, if that is something you guys can do consistently, it would be nice, because then we know that we can show up 2 or 3 times a month for appointments. And then my 4th point is ACT has been really helpful with low cost, so I go there regularly because I do everything out of my pocket. But I can tell you that they are really behind. They're like behind 500 surgeries right now, so it takes at least a month to get an appointment. If this type of facility, if there could be more of it, it would be helpful for people like me who can actually, take them in for low cost, spay and neuter, and pay out of our pockets, because that's what I do. And that's what a lot of my friends do, is pay out of pocket, because there's no help. You call these local groups, and they're overwhelmed. They don't have enough staff. So we become staff. We become volunteers. We become our own, private citizen helping all of these poor cats. So that's all I have for you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Stacy?
Hi, thanks for hearing us. I know cats are not the most enthralling of subjects. I really appreciate my dog after taking care of feral cats the last few years. I have to say I appreciate animal shelter for doing the TNRs. Those have made a big there. And it really helps if you're limited income, having cats fixed that way, because privately it's a and it does take a long time, even through our very good ACT and through Pacific Vet. Long time. You don't always know if you'll get a place. I'd like to encourage you, please private groups of citizens who work with and other private groups, please do so, because they are citizens who are interested, and an interested and motivated group of people can accomplish a lot more if we're working with their governmental people like you than just somebody like me. Someone like me, we feel sort of stranded out there. We don't really know what we're doing, who to contact, how to get help. If I was able to afford to take out interest in cat litter and cat food now, I could do really well. It's almost like a second job for me. My dog is not happy. But once again, I encourage you to work. Ava's idea of working with UC Davis, I know vets are scarce now, as are correctly trained personnel to assist in veterinary procedures. Even the vets have complained of that. If you could continue to work with them and work with her and other concerned citizens, I think that would make a big difference. And once again, I want to thank you. And I think people too in our neighborhoods would thank you, because having a lot of feral cats in your neighborhood hanging around, it's great for reducing the rat population, but boy, you don't want them in your gardens, taking a dump in your flower beds, tearing up your lawns, sitting on your cars, hanging out on your porches. Most of my neighbors don't care about stuff like that, but in your better neighborhoods, they sure do. And I think much as they like cats, they'd rather not see them in such large numbers. Last night at 2 a.m., one of them started serenading under my window. And I was like, I love cats. It's too much. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you. Michelle Padilla?